Welcome to Everybody Does It. This is our YouTube channel, and if you're listening on our podcast, welcome. We are here to normalize sex and our sexuality. I'm Anjeti.
I'm Jorge.
And we are bringing awareness and opening up the conversation around sex and our different lifestyle, and just showing you a different way to show up in your everyday life and in your relationships, because we are all multifaceted human beings with different sexual appetites.
So on this podcast, we're going to talk a lot of different spicy topics, such as our real life experiences dealing with cheating, dealing with our previous monogamous relationships, dealing with having sex with people outside of our primary relationship, having threesomes, having group sex, swinging, going to swingers clubs, having outdoor sex, and again, just navigating this new world that we are all living in, with all these new genders that are coming out of nowhere, all of these new different styles of relationships, and just building an acceptance and understanding for all of these different peoples and what it is that they desire in their lives.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we decided to open up our relationship last year in 2021 because we felt like it was after our cheating, but we also felt like we didn't want to keep hiding from each other. And so we hope that by you listening to us and watching us, you're able to feel more empowered in your sexuality and in your desires. And you can also show up as your truest, sexiest self in your relationships. Now, this podcast YouTube channel is called Everybody Does It because in our world, everybody is having sex, or they're desiring more sex, or maybe they're cheating, or they're thinking about cheating, or whatever it is. However, we do know and we are aware that there are a community of asexuals out there that this doesn't apply to you, but everyone is welcome to tune in.
Yeah. So on our first episode, we were talking about Anjeti's experiences, previous to our relationship, and how she was trying to come up in this world and understand herself sexually and emotionally, and now we're going to talk about my experiences before me and Anjeti got to meet.
Yeah, so your story is pretty freaking intense. I mean, I felt like our stories are very similar, and it's like, it's funny how much like I can relate to your story and you can relate to mine, even though it's different. There's a lot of like similar themes in our stories. Yeah. So we're gonna take it way back to childhood, little kid Jorge, right?
Yeah, even before then, this is where this is one of the things in our stories that kind of vary, but I was actually a product of unethical non-monogamy.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, so back going before I was born, my mother had a very complicated relationship with my father, who was also in a complicated relationship with another woman, which is the mother to my sisters. So they were having trouble, kind of understanding their love, and this is way back before any type of social media or any other type of, major influences that you're going to see on a day-to-day basis. So people were already, very curious and how to navigate the relationships and, having trouble. So that's definitely something that I think about all the time, and was a huge reflection on how I lived my life and just trying to understand what it was that I was, looking to do with, other people and how to have my relationships. But
yeah, it's crazy like how, if you think about it, you were like born into that already. Like that was already like part of like your generational curse.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
No.
So after I was born, I actually did have sexual experiences very early on in my life. We had another family that was very close to ours, very close family friends, and they had other children and their family as well. And one of them was actually a female, and she was maybe like 6 or 7 years older than me, and I was only 5 or 6 at the time, maybe 7. Okay. Not completely sure what age I was, but I know it was around that time. And she was going through a lot in her life as well. She was being abused in her home.
Yeah.
A lot of bad examples around her on a consistent basis. So I'm sure that she was, just trying to, find some peace and happiness and love, because she was not very loved at home. So,
yeah, and she was like, what, an early teenager. So at that age, you're like figuring out who you are already. It's already a really weird and confusing, awkward time.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, she was going through some really like, you know, traumatic experiences in her family. You know, there's some death involved, and it was some deep shit that she was going through. And I can't imagine, like, as a 12-year-old, to, in a way, it's almost like she was looking for like an outlet, like an escape, and maybe you were that.
Yeah, so we did get very close, and she started, I wouldn't say using me, but in a sense, you know, I had no idea what was going on. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she was taking off my clothes, and she was experimenting with my genitals, and she wanted me to experiment with hers. And I remember this went on for some time, and it would always be when my parents were not there. We would go into a closet. It would always be very secretive. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody was supposed to know what we were doing.
Yeah.
So I remember a day where they had left, and she had brought me into our parents' room. Mm-hmm. And she had discovered this poster that was in between the mattress and the box spring. Mm-hmm. And it was a poster with multiple different sex positions.
So this is your parents' poster?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it probably had, I don't know, maybe like 16 or 20 something different sex positions with like the picture and the name. So I was like, whoa, what are these people doing in these photos? And she was like, look, we're going to try this one and this one.
Damn.
I was like, what, me and you are going to do this? Mm-hmm. So we tried a couple of them. And at this time, I wasn't even getting an erection.
Wow.
Like, I was so young.
Yeah.
You know, so we were really just...
You had no idea what you were doing with your body.
Yeah, just rubbing our bodies together.
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting experience, you know, sexually, that I had very early on. And she ended up moving away, you know, maybe like a year or two after, you know, we had started.
And you missed her?
Playing with each other. And, you know, definitely, you know, she was close to me, but it wasn't something that, like, I always thought about it, like, in the back of my mind growing up, but, you know, it wasn't something that I was like, man, I wish I had her.
Right,
I can't live without her, because, you know, we were just kids,
right?
Like, you know?
Yeah, no.
So then my next sexual experience after that was actually with myself, you know, my experience with masturbation. Mm-hmm. And I probably was, you know, still barely growing hair on my balls, like... I don't even know an exact age, but maybe like 10 to 12, something like that.
That's like a normal age, whatever that is, but yeah.
Yeah, so I remember it was actually American Pie, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I was watching the actor just go, like, it was like the back of him, so all you would see is his arm moving and shaking, and he was like on his knees, and he would like grab a napkin. So I'm like, okay, what was that?
Yeah.
So I remember I was thinking about it, like, okay, what was that guy doing with his thing? Mm-hmm. So when I went to take a shower, because I was showering by myself at the time, yay me.
At 10 years old.
Right, you know, boss. I would try it. I was like, I was shaking it, you know, and then I was like, all right, it feels kind of good, you know. Mm-hmm. Started to, like, maybe get like a little half erection or something, you know, not like the full thing, but I was like, all right, cool, you know. And the scariest moment for me was having the orgasm and seeing like little bubbles and like little white stuff coming out of my penis, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? You know, and again, you know, I'm being secretive, because even in the movie American Pie, like, all of the sexual experiences that they were having, they were trying to be very secretive, like, you know, by myself, very secluded. So
you're not about to go tell your mom, like, Mom, look.
Like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell my mom, like, hey, some stuff came out when I shook it. Like, no, that wasn't gonna happen. So
she probably would have just thrown some condoms at you.
And it took a long time for me to want to masturbate again, you know, because I was actually scared. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but eventually I did, and when I did start masturbating again, I was masturbating a lot.
I bet.
Yeah, like I had random urges, like, all the time as a kid, to just want to masturbate.
No,
like, I remember I was in Berkshire Mall, and I had went to the bathroom, and I was in the stall, and I just started masturbating. I was a kid, just started masturbating in the stall, in the bathroom, and there's like the little cracks right there.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like somebody like seen me through the crack, and I was like,
oh my
snap.
God.
So I was like, okay, this is probably not the right place to be doing this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to,
You weren't the only one, though, because I was in Catholic school, and I'll never forget, like, my 7th grade boyfriend at the time, I caught him, like, sitting next to me, like, just masturbating in the back of class, like, literally, like, as the teacher is talking.
Wow.
And doing a lesson. And that was the first time I saw a dick. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, what is that? I'm 7th grade, and this kid just, like, whips out his dick. And, like, in class, at a Catholic school.
Yeah,
But
that kid's wild.
yeah, he has, like, 4 or 5 baby mamas now.
Yeah, so, growing up, I really didn't have any talks about sex with my parents or anybody in my family until we actually had, like, sex ed in high school.
Yeah.
And, kids weren't really taking it serious. It was kind of a joke,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like little giggles and fun, and they didn't really take it as serious as we should have, as children trying to just understand ourselves sexually. So
Right.
yeah, and I didn't really, there was like a gap also of time where I really didn't engage with other females. I was just living my life as a child,
Mm-hmm.
having my homies and playing basketball, just playing with Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon and all that
Yu-Gi-Oh
other,
cards.
little kid stuff.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really focused on having any type of sexual relationships until I got to high school. And, other kids were like having sex and, like I was hearing conversations, but I wasn't really like a sexual predator,
Mm-hmm.
When I actually connected with females, it was on a deeper level first.
I don't know if we should say sexual predator, because, like, there really shouldn't be any sexual predators in that age group.
Yeah, there were other, teenage boys telling me like, yo, we gonna get all these girls to suck our dicks and have sex. Like there were teenage boys that
they
that
did talk like
were
that.
sexual predators. You
Yeah.
know? And it's not like something bad because we're all children.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like anybody's knows any better. We're just experimenting with ourselves, and some people are getting other information than others. And they're running with it, and we're some of us are over here curious, but we're not engaging on that level because we don't feel comfortable for any other reason, so
Right. And it also makes you wonder, it's like, why are these boys showing up as sexual predators? Like, what's going on in their homes and in their lives that they feel it's okay to be like, yo, let's get all these girls to suck our dick? Like, no, and I mean, that's why I feel like we really got to do better about, like, speaking about sex, because like our youth, they don't get it. They think like, that's cool. Like, that's what, as a man, that's what you're supposed to do. Get as many girls to suck your dick. But then as a girl, you get the different narrative where it's like, oh no, you better hold on to your virginity, girl, if you're gonna have any value.
Mm-hmm. The more dicks you suck, the less value you have.
Yeah. And then it's like, as a man, it's like the more you get your dick sucked by different women, the more value you have. It's like, it's fucking whack. So no, we're changing that narrative.
Yeah, definitely. So if any of you guys have any type of input, or if you guys can relate to us in any kind of way, make sure you reach out to us on Instagram.
Comment below.
Yeah, comment below. Like us. Hit that like button right now. Follow, subscribe. All of that good stuff, and let's continue to make this conversation more regular in our households, and let's try to understand each other on a deeper level. So, coming out of high school, I had my relationships. I'm very sapiosexual.
When did you lose your virginity?
Much my entire time. I mean, again, I pretty much lost my virginity at an early age, but
like with
the next time coming
maturity.
into like high school,
yeah,
it was. To me, losing my virginity was not as serious as some other people might have been, just because of the sexual
like
experiences that I had. But I was always like making out with girls. Like, I would always get very close to like females, and like we would be really, really good friends, and we would trust each other. Mm-hmm. And it was actually a girl that we would kind of be like on and off. Like, sometimes I'll go to her house, would spend spend a lot of time together, and then like have some time apart, and then come back, spend some time apart, and it was probably like a year or two of this. And in 11th grade, that was like the next time that I actually had sex with, another girl. And I didn't last long.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of my
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, a lot of my sexual, you know, experiences, like, you know, early on, like in high school, early teens, or like even a young adult, like I did not really last that long.
Listen, I don't think that there's any like 15, 16, 17, 18, or even like most grown men don't last long.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
like, don't
know.
feel bad about that.
I don't know. So I really didn't, you know how to please a woman at the time. You know, it was more just like being able to connect with them.
Yeah.
And just like once we get to that point, it's like, hey, we did it, you know? And that's like the highest level of connection that we could have. We did it, yo. Pound it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know?
It wasn't like that for, maybe for you it was like that, you know, but for some girls, I don't feel like I was like, yay, we did it. It was more like, what the fuck did I just
honestly,
do?
I always think that, like, you know, they felt kind of bad, like, afterwards. Like, wow, like, but I was trying to make them feel better. Like, hey, you know, we cool.
Yeah.
I know, you know. I wasn't even asking them if they came, like, at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, word, that was cool.
also, can I say, like, side note, like, if you have to ask if a girl came, she most likely didn't. That's all I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna put that out there. We'll get to all
that. So then I actually started to have more like real relationships when I got out of high school. And unfortunately, sad to say, I cheated in almost every relationship that I had. Not almost every relationship, every relationship that I had.
Yeah, just own up to it. We all, yeah. He cheated on every freaking girlfriend. And let me say something, like, from what you've shown me, the girls that I've known that you dated, you were like with some really like pretty girls.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so like it wasn't about them. It wasn't about them.
It was nothing about them. I really did, you know, really did enjoy being with them, enjoyed their company, enjoyed talking to them, enjoyed having sex with them. I just always felt like I needed more, you know. I always just felt like I was able to connect with other women, you know, and other people so easily.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be able to act on my urges that I was having. And I wasn't bad at holding back just because I was a lover. I just had an infinite amount of love to give. But at the time, I didn't understand or even have any type of knowledge that there were really other lifestyle choices that you can have. You know, other relationship styles that you can try to, you know, have to make it work more for you, you know, and what it is that you want out of your life. I wasn't aware of any of that. So I was just trying to make it work for myself. I knew what I wanted on the inside, you know. And eventually, after I cheated in a lot of relationships, I tried to be more open and honest. Like, hey, look, I like to have sex. I have multiple women that I connect with. Like, you know, are you cool with that? Are you not? Like, you know, this is what I'm doing. If you're not, like, I don't want to hurt your feelings because this is just how I am.
Yeah,
you know?
So you did start to like open up about like your sexuality and like your needs and your desires. You did. So like after, okay, so you cheated on them, and like, would you come clean about your cheating, or would they find out about it? Like, what would?
Oh no, they would find out.
They always.
I was not telling nobody. I was like, that's my secret. Look, what I do is none of your business. All right, just stay over there. Now,
wow.
You know, and it's very immature. It was a very closed-minded way of thinking, and
it's what most, I don't want to say most men, but it's what the majority of men who are cheating do. They don't fucking say anything, but women always find out because you guys aren't really good at like covering your tracks.
Yeah, so, you know, but I did know that I wanted more, and it wasn't something that I was gonna settle less for. Like, I knew that I wanted multiple women in my life, and
you knew this, like, what, you were in your early 20s and you knew this, or are you talking like later on?
Definitely.
Like,
even in my, you know, probably mid 20s.
Yeah.
Early 20s, I kind of knew, but I was still like in denial. I guess I would say, like,
still trying to fit into the monogamy box.
Yeah, fit into what everybody else is doing. You know, I tried.
Yeah.
But I struggled, you know, a lot, and I questioned if there was really something wrong with me at a lot of points, which is what kind of led to just being, you know, if there is something wrong with me, I don't think it's my urges. I really didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong.
Right.
To me, what was wrong was me lying and keeping secrets. And I came to that conclusion.
And hurting people.
Yeah, and hurting people's feelings. And I really ended up hurting myself because these, like I said, these were women that I really did care about. So I had to start just being more open and honest with people about what it was that I wanted. It was still difficult to try to find somebody that was okay with that. Because again, we're living in a society where those are not things that you really hear about too often.
No.
You know, and if they are things that people are doing, you know, if people are living a non-monogamous lifestyle, it's a very low percentage of those people that are actually talking about it and building awareness.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, a lot of people feel shamed. So.
Yeah. And as a woman, as a girl, you're taught like, okay, if you have a man, he better be all about you. Like, he better be coming home to you every single night. He better be catering to you. Like, and if your man goes out looking for somebody else, it's probably your fault. You know what I mean? Like, what are you not doing? Like, maybe you need to lose some weight. Maybe you need to suck his dick more. Maybe you need to cook better. Like, it then gets, like, blamed on the woman because the guy cheated. Like, it's so fucked up. So it's, of course it's gonna be really hard for you to find somebody who's like, oh yeah, I'm down for you fucking other girls. Like, no, like, most women are not okay with that, especially in our early 20s. Now, like, you know, being in our early 30s, we're realizing like, oh, there's a whole community of people that are like okay with this and this is how they're living. But back then it's like, we didn't know that shit.
Right. So I'm very grateful for being at this point in my life where, you know, where now I've met you and we've started a whole new narrative, and it didn't start, you know, so smoothly, but that's what we're going to talk about on the next episode, you know? So that's my story.
Anything else you want to add?
There's a lot of stuff in between, you know, and I'm sure that some of the topics that we talk about on the channel are going to bring up some of those old experiences and thoughts, and I'm just excited to continue talking about it and to hear some of your stories as well, you know, or some of the listeners out there, or somebody who just might be wanting to ask some questions. You know, we're here to answer questions and just to make it a normal thing to talk about our urges, our sexuality.
Yes, this is a safe space. I love that we've created. The thing is, when it comes to your relationships, it's like you have to create the relationship that you want. And a lot of us don't fit into that structured box, labels, and monogamy, and like the way that a good, successful, healthy, long-term committed relationship needs to look like. So we created like safety in our relationship that we're able to kind of like come to each other and talk to each other about whatever it is that we're feeling or whatever it is that we're experiencing or whatever. Who are we talking to? What are we wanting? So yeah, this is the place for that, and that's why we're inviting people into our space, because we realize that there is not too much safety in people showing up as their true, like, sexy selves. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of men in relationships who are probably going to be listening to Jorge. We're going to be like, damn, like, I want that, but how do I even bring that up to my girl, right? And maybe it's going to be the opposite. Maybe there's going to be women who will relate to me and be like, oh my God, like, shit, I want to be a slut too, you know, and I want to own it, because I own that word now. Like, I know, like, now I'm like, I'm a proud fucking slut, you know what I mean? Or a fucking whore. I don't care. Like, these are words that we can reclaim back because there's power in them. And finding my sexuality in this relationship has really brought me to be more confident. It's brought me to be a little bit more like self-assured, and it's healed a lot. It's healed a lot of like my past trauma. So yeah, we're really excited to bring this YouTube channel and podcast live, because this has been like a year in the making. But we wanted to make sure that we like fix the knobs and the nooks and crannies in our relationship. Right. You know what I mean? Because like, I'm gonna say this right now. This lifestyle is not easy, especially in the beginning, especially when you're coming from like me. I'm coming from that monogamous programming and then trying to like unlearn it. You realize, oh my fucking shit, like there's a lot here that I need to unpack. And so if you are going to embark on this journey, congratulations, more power to you. but get ready. Like, get ready to do the inner work. Get ready to be triggered. Get ready to have conversations that at first you're gonna be like, oh my God, no. Ugh. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather watch paint dry. But it's gonna be so good. So like last year, we had to really kind of dig deep. We had to heal. You know, I had to heal. He had to heal. It was a lot of like work that we had to do. I don't want people to see us now in our chapter 24 and compare it to their chapter 1.
Right.
Because that's where we're on. You know what I mean? At least I feel like.
Definitely.
Yeah. You know, I don't want people to look at us and see this energy and how we're talking and not think like, oh my God, this must have been easy peasy for them, a walk in the park, because it fucking wasn't. There was a lot of fights. There's a lot of tears. There was a lot of like feelings. And so, but when you have unconditional love, like we do, and when you really fuck hard with somebody and you want that person in your life, you're going to do whatever it takes. You know what I mean? You're going to do what you need to do to create the relationship of your dreams. So I just really want to put that out there. Like, if you're going to be watching us, I hope that you're also going to be doing the work. But you're in a really good place because we've learned a lot.
Definitely.
Definitely have learned a lot.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We got a lot of juicy conversations coming up for y'all. Again, next topic is how me and Jetty started our relationship. Mm-hmm. And we actually turned everything around. The entire relationship curse that we've been living in for a long time, you know, with our families, we are bringing that to an end, and we are starting a new chapter for the generations to come. And hopefully we might inspire you guys to think a little bit differently and open your minds a little bit, because we have learned so much, and I've come out on the other side feeling so much more confident, and just sure about myself, just so much better as a person, as a man overall. And I think and Jetty agrees with, you know, about herself, you know, and how she's been able to grow. So stay tuned.
Wait, hold on. We and also in the next episode, we definitely gotta like talk about the cheating.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
like
gonna happen.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Stay tuned, guys, because like we're gonna talk to you like really like what went down and how it really like opened up, because we did not start as an open relationship. We kind of started out more as like friends. Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Yay.
And thank you.
All right. Yeah, and subscribe. If you liked it, subscribe, and show some love. Share it to your friends, and don't be shy. Like, if you have questions, if you have any topics that you guys like want us to talk about, definitely shoot us a message. So, all right.